Is History Hunter. History Hunter. We take history seriously, seriously fun, making history 3D, in color, connected. And now, here's your host, Craig Gottlieb.
That didn't even have the, can you hear my voice?
I can hear your voice.
You can hear, I can't hear your voice though.
Huh. You're the host today.
Well, I can hear your voice. I hope so. Mine is out.
I hear you. You hear me.
I think it's so funny how we were working so hard on whether we're going to collaborate on the stuff. I wanted them to see your video. They probably won't hear. I don't know if they'll hear the video. Could you hear you talking in the video?
Like now? Yeah, I could hear it. Yeah.
I couldn't hear the part, but I wanted them to see your intro video because I always want them to know that the History Hunter's here. When you know,
that's crazy.
When you hear that music and Craig Gottlieb,
The best $50 I ever spent on Fiverr.
That's amazing.
Yeah,
man.
it's crazy.
I think that's what it is. I think, oh, there we go. I just moved my my wire.
Perfect.
So tell me what's sitting on the table, man.
Okay, you asked me. We just finished men's group, and we're. You're like, you got anything cool in your car? And I'm like, no. Well, wait, I got to have something. And yeah, I've got this.
What is that?
That is. You ever heard of a little company called Nvidia?
Nvidia?
I call it Nvidia because I'm like
you call
a moron.
It Nvidia?
Nvidia, just like nuclear.
So you've given me such a hard time about nuclear.
Yeah.
And then I had this discussion with my buddy Jacob the other day. And so Jacob is a young guy. You need to meet him. He thinks that you're the coolest guy in the world. And he's like, of course, Craig was right. It's nuclear. And I said, you said it the same way. And he's like, and then he said to his mom, he's like, it's nuclear.
Says the guy about the guy that says Nvidia.
and then his mom said, well, what is it? And he said, well, it's two words. It's just like it's two words. It's clear. And he's like, yeah, it's nuclear. And she said, you said it exactly the same.
It's hard. I
say
say
it
Nvidia. No, nuclear. Okay. Like nuclear.
But say it without breaking
nuclear.
Okay.
I just said it wrong. But okay, so Nvidia, Nvidia, thank you.
Nvidia, is it just N?
It's
and Nvidia?
Nvidia. Yeah. In fact, earnings come out tomorrow. That's interesting.
What's his name?
Jensen Huang.
Jensen Huang.
Jensen Huang is his name.
I reached out to Jensen Huang. You know that, right?
Is he coming?
He's not coming yet.
Let's go see him.
I want him.
Let's go get him.
I'm
not saying kidnap him. That's illegal. And, probably not a good idea.
But I want him here. I want him in the studio. I think that it would be so incredible to be able to have him here. Have you heard the story? Have you listened to interviews with him
of course.
In depth?
Yeah, I've got some information.
Did you do the Joe Rogan one?
I've seen it. Yep.
Have you watched the whole thing in its entirety?
No, probably not. But
Did you watch a clip of it and now you're telling me that you
No,
watched
I've watched hours of him. He's interesting.
How many hours?
I'm not going to tell you because I don't know. I'm not going to
You don't know how many? You didn't
I want to
even
be
think
truthful.
about it?
Okay, you asked me what I got here. Let me bring this podcast mini into some focus. So, as you know, I'm a buyer and seller of history.
Oh.
And I find that if you can identify I call it the blue chips of tomorrow, it's a good way to get ahead. If you're buying hey, listen, do you know how much a Cobra, a 1967 Cobra sold for when it was like fresh out of the factory?
No,
it's like $7,000 or $8,000.
Are you kidding?
No, I mean, that was that was twice what someone made in a year.
Yeah.
Car people will go, no, it was actually 8927.6. I don't know. It was under 10 grand. They're worth like hundreds of thousands of dollars now. Millions.
How would you have known that? Because there's so many
Well, that's
different...
just it. I've asked car collectors, what's the Cobra of tomorrow? And they never really give me a solid answer.
I don't think there's a Cobra of tomorrow.
Yeah, maybe not.
Do you think because there's so much production of cars?
Well, the problem is people are buying cars as collectibles. In other words, they buy a brand new Corvette, top of the line ZL1 or whatever it is, and they put it in a bubble.
But do you think that on the collectible side, and we'll get to the Nvidia part, but do you think on the collectible side, it's people are now trying to make things collectible, right? So like sports cards, and I've noticed this recently. We just had a conversation about it. And I would love I want you to bring in some sports cards at some point, or you're even your Pokemons. You're big in Pokemon.
Yeah, I am not big in Pokemon.
But you're big in Pokemon Go.
Well, let's talk about that. Let's talk about that when there aren't cameras, because it's sort of embarrassing. Yeah, I play Pokemon. Okay,
you
okay,
do.
Okay, my name is Craig Gottlieb. I play Pokemon Go when no one's looking.
No,
And
you play it.
sometimes-
You play it a lot.
I
You
do.
go to other states to play it.
I do, but I don't collect cards or anything.
Okay.
But you said people create things to be collectibles. I call it a manufactured collectible, and that's not really a collectible.
And that's what I'm saying is, like, we were just talking about it the other day, and we were talking about sports cards. And nowadays, if you buy a pack of sports cards, I mean, they're, $50 for 5 cards.
Yeah, and you don't open the package, or if you open it, you got to use forensic gloves because you don't want to damage the corners in case you get a rare one and you can get it graded. In the old days, in the 1950s, kids bought baseball cards and they carried them in their back pocket and they put them on their spokes of their bike. That's why they're collectible, because they were really sort of used and abused and consumed. They weren't put in plastic sleeves by these kids.
So for you, as a guy that works with history, is that a nails on the chalkboard kind of thing? For you?
No. You mean manufactured collectibles?
Yeah, like...
No, I'm not judgmental. I think that some people like to collect, Hummel figurines, and that's
Okay.
great for them. If I'm not going to say you have to be a collector a certain way.
Okay,
How
that
I
makes
am,
sense.
I don't want manufactured collectibles. I want stuff that survived by accident.
What about this? This survived by accident.
This is a perfect example.
Complete accident.
Yeah. So backstory, I didn't know what Nvidia was, and it's Nvidia.
Yeah.
And about 5 years ago, and I'm not bragging because I suck at picking stocks, a guy said to me, Craig, you got to buy this company. And I'm like, what do they do? He goes, well, they make like computer graphics cards. And I'm like, why would that be a good idea? And he goes, trust me.
How long ago is this?
It's like 5 years ago.
5 years
Maybe
ago.
five. It's a long time ago. And I didn't spend, I wish I'd put $100,000, $200,000, $300,000 in, but I put enough in, excuse me, that it made a difference. It's made a difference in my life. But so I said, okay, fine. And obviously we know what Nvidia does now. They make GPUs. They're the most powerful processors on the planet.
Yeah.
And in a minute, I'll tell you a prediction. They're the most important cards on them. They run AI. And so I thought to myself, I want to find the very first chip that they ever made. And I said, that can't be that much money. So I went on eBay and started, I did the research, found out that it was called because this is one of them, the Diamond Edge 3D 3240. And I'm sort of blowing it now if everybody's going to go try to buy one. I found 2 online, unlike the entire internet, for sale. And I'll tell you why in a minute. And the first one I bought was $900. The second one I bought was $600. But I couldn't find more than 2. Here's why. Here's the chip, or excuse me. Here is the card.
If you put it up by your shoulder,
like that,
you can see it.
Can you see it?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's on a
cool
Sega game board, and it's basically a video processor of. And again, like the car guys, the tech guys are going to go, it's not it's this. This is the first thing, and it says NV1 on the chip. There's the chip right there.
Yeah.
And
I love it because it was in your car.
Well, it's in my car because I'm going to get it framed.
Well, the backstory of this, though, it's just so cool, is when you came in, and no matter what, like even the way that you're sitting right now, you have your hands over the top and you're making sure that you're in place. And I just asked you 5 minutes ago to be on the podcast.
Check.
We just got done with men's group. We're having a conversation. I said, Craig, do you have anything in your car right now? And you were like, well, I always have something in my car.
I got to look for it.
And then you popped the trunk, you looked.
It's like, well, there's an AK-47 there, but we're not bringing that on YouTube.
And then I asked, you got 20 minutes, man?
Yeah.
And
Well, okay.
You got 20 minutes, obviously.
Okay, so focus.
Yes.
Okay, so this is the chip. And I said to myself, well, how many can there be? Only found 2, and here's why. You ever see a recycling campaign where they recycle chips? And they do that. They're not doing it for the environment. These companies are doing it because you're bringing them a free source of gold. Because on this board, there's like a microscopic amount of gold. So what they do is they take these things, they melt them down, and they process and come up with gold. And gold's like $4,500, $5,000 an ounce now. So all old computers get recycled. Do you have your old 1990s computer? No.
But I have a bunch of computers I need to get rid of. So
Yeah,
if
but-
anybody wants to buy them, just reach out to me.
Yeah.
I've got Macs for days.
How many Nvidia chips do you have in
I
your?
have 0.
Probably none. Okay.
0.
So the idea is none of these survived because they were used, and I'll go into the history of why this is such a cool piece of history
Yeah.
as it relates to today. So I found two, and they were expensive, but I could only find two. And it's the very first chip that Nvidia ever made. And so I think it's going to be we'll see, 10 years from now. And it says 1995 is the date right on there. I just saw it for the first time. I mean, look at it right here. You can hold it. Take it.
My eyes
You
are
hold it
bad.
while we're talking.
You're judging. You're going to judge me because I turned 50 and my eyesight started to go. I can kind of make out.
Yeah, it says 1995.
Okay.
So anyway, here's the thing.
Looks like your handwriting, though.
No, it's not.
At 95.
So here's the thing about Nvidia, and this is a great opportunity to chat a little bit. Because you can hold on to it. Okay. You hold on to it when we talk. So first of all, three things. Nvidia was founded in a Denny's. In a Denny's restaurant. Jensen Huang and two of his partners got together and said, and they had worked for other companies, we're going to start our own company.
Yeah.
And it didn't do very well. That was their first product 2 years later that went to market. It was a commercial failure. Another reason this is rare, they only made no one knows for sure how many they made. I don't even think Jensen Huang knows. We're going to ask him when he appears on our podcast. But
we should have him sign. We got to have him sign.
I would travel to have him sign this. But it's like he made maybe 100,000. They were too expensive. They didn't work well. They didn't work with some of the company's programming. And so it was a failure. And so this chip almost put them out of business forever. And there was a time in their company where they actually had less than 30 days of money for payroll. They were that close to going out of business. Wow. So this is the company that almost never was. That's cool. Okay. And that they only made a few and they were a commercial failure and they all got recycled. That's why that's rare and collectible. I don't know if anybody else collects them, but I've got two. Other thing too is interesting. You talk about what that means to people who are trying to start stuff today. They started this idea in a Denny's. What does that tell you?
Keep working.
Keep working. No idea is too stupid. I mean, some of them are not, we got ideas. I get ideas all the time that are not, they're not $1 trillion ideas. They're not even $1,000 ideas. But a lot of people get discouraged early on in a project, They don't even start. They don't even talk about it. But they might have a great idea. That's encouraging to me. I hold that in my hand. I'm like, wow, anything is possible.
Do you think that some people should use those? Obviously, that's an inspiration part, but there's sometimes the idea shouldn't work, and you should abandon it. When do you know when to abandon it? Because you hear the stories about these guys that you're like, oh my gosh, they worked through. And then there's the other side that is like, the guy goes for it and all his friends are like, that's a silly idea. It's never going to work. And
it never does work.
And the friends were actually right.
Yeah, you talk about success stories. By talking about success stories, that's really not a way you're going to learn about what's successful. Because for every one of the Nvidias in a Denny's, there were probably a billion Denny's ideas that went nowhere.
Yeah.
I remember my first business in high school was with my friend Will and Bill. It was WBC car washing. I mean, that's Will, Bill, Craig car washing. We are not car wash magnates today, but we started and we did something. Yeah. We did something. I told our friend Cole this morning that because he's sort of struggling with, he's 24. Where is he going to go in life? What's he going to do? And I said, just put your oar in the water. I said, you're going to know. You get into a river and you start rowing and you're not going very far, but you're enjoying it. It's a nice day, you're rowing, your girlfriend's there for him. One day he's going to put his oar in the water, and that's a proverbial now I'm going to try graphics. Now I'm going to try social media marketing. Now I'm going to try real estate. Now I'm going to work with dentists. These different ideas. Just do them, enjoy it, and learn something. One day you're going to know you're in the right river because you're going to be paddling, and all of a sudden you're going, whoa, I'm going really fast. Oh, wait, what's going on? There's going to be a current that he's going to not be able to fight. And he's a wise kid. I don't really find wise head on young shoulders. I certainly was not anywhere near as wise as he is when I was a kid, when I was his age. And he's going to know. So I think that's probably it. I think every one of these success stories has a moment where they go, holy crap, we're going someplace.
How much of that do you think is the people around? You and I have talked about it where you'll meet a specific person and they ignite something, like you and I. When we started talking about things, there was a ignition point. I mean, I find that most of those currents happen from relationships or people that you meet.
Yeah, it's relationships, it's people. There's a God element to it. And you can't create Nvidia. You can't start off, I'm going to create $1 trillion company. You can't do that. Yeah. You'll never create a $1,000 company with that attitude. Okay. I remember Rush Limbaugh?
Yeah.
Yeah. Love him or hate him, he said, I just went into broadcasting because I loved it. And before his death, he became one of, like him or not, he was one of the most popular, successful broadcasters in radio and television history. But he didn't start out by going, I need to make $6 million a year, and this is how I'm going to do it. He found something that he liked, and he figured that he was just going to do it. And then I guarantee you, if you ask him, and I'm asking you, all of a sudden, you just feel that current. You're like, I'm going somewhere. That happened with me in antique buying and selling.
What was the first one that almost turned it on for you when you were in the antique buying and selling?
That I knew I was going to do well, or that?
No, that you started to feel a current.
I started to feel a current like about 25 years ago.
Okay. So what year are we talking? 25 years ago?
Like turn of the century. Yeah,
really?
right.
2000.
Yeah, turn of the millennium rather.
Okay.
And it was, I had gone online. I was one of the first like dealer collectors that went online and was doing like community groups and stuff. These were like forums and whatnot. And that sort of got things rolling a little bit. That was my oar in the water. And I started one because I didn't have anybody to talk to about the things I liked. So I did it for myself. I didn't do it to become some well-known person. And that happened. I think that a couple of moments. One was when I like got a phone call at random for my first really expensive big item that some family had, and I got it. And that was crazy. And then the second one, I think, was when never looking to be on television. This was like 2009, 2010. I did a charity event, and some guy in Hollywood goes, "You should be on TV." And I'm like, "Really?" And that was another pivotal moment when I was like, "I can't fight this current. This current's going. I don't know where it's going to take me, but it's going someplace." And so
did you resist it when the guy said you should be on TV? Because for him, probably TV was very simple. And we run into people all the time. There's a woman named Natalie that I ran into, and she was a client of mine years ago. And I was working at the Hard Rock Casino. And we had locations all over. And I said, at some point in my life, what I want to do is just have a wardrobe in every city where I live. That way I don't have to travel with anything. She turned to me almost like it was just normal and natural, like she did it all the time. And she's like, "Well, why don't you do it now?" And I stopped, and she's like, "Yeah, you can have them dry clean here at the hotel. You can have your clothes here. When you land, you can just pick them up. Why wouldn't you do that?" In her head, her reality was, she already lived in that reality. But it took that relationship to almost say, like, why not? You're that kind of guy with me. When you talk about TV, you've been on TV multiple times, so TV is not a barrier for you. At that time, when the guy said you should be on TV, was there any barrier, or did you resist it at all?
No, I mean, there's a part of me that, because I love telling stories and I like history, I thought, no, I think that could work, but how do you do it? And he's like, I'm going to show you how. And it sometimes takes that. You get that oar in the water, and the current starts to flow, and you'll know it when it flows. The real miracle is if someone sort of reaches in, grabs you, and goes, "Hey, you're going places. Let's do this together." Now, his name was Sandy. I still keep in touch with him.
Yeah.
Sandy Kleiman, look him up. He's like a 1980s classic, right out of Central Casting agent. He used to be a big agent in Hollywood, and now he's a media mogul or something. And he's a good guy. He's a good friend. But he like reached into that current, saw the flow, and went, "We're going to push this further."
Yeah.
And so there's a little luck there. There's a little bit of divine intervention there. But the first key is you got to put your oar in the water.
Yeah.
Because if you don't start, you're never going to hit if you don't swing. I am not a sports person, but you don't swing the bat, you're never going to hit.
Yeah.
My son played baseball for like a season when he was really young, never got a hit. He got he got on base, but he never once got a hit, but he swung every single time. He never waited for actually, I guess a few times he did obviously wait. This is a bad analogy, but he really did try to swing. And even though he didn't really think he was going to hit the ball, and he never did, not once. And I'm so proud of him.
Do you start to have a feeling like when you picked up this Nvidia chip, when you picked it up for the first time, did you have a thought in your head of this could be something, right? Mm-hmm. Do you start to have that little spidey sense?
I do. I have the spidey sense, but it's not because I don't love that because maybe it's going to be worth 10 grand someday. Like if you have a iPhone 1 in the box unopened, it's worth like 50 grand. Okay. I have an iPhone 1 that I went and bought that's open and doesn't work. It's in my like desk drawer just because I wanted to have one. It was $50. It's probably never going to be worth more than $50. And I didn't get that spider sense because they are all over the place because people don't recycle their phones. They just throw them in a drawer. So there's plenty of iPhone 1s around the world.
Do you get the opposite spidey sense of like, I really want this to be, but it ain't happening, and not in a negative way? Because we have that sometimes in a negative way, you know, a negative self-fulfilling prophecy. I'll never be anything. I'm not talking about that, but is there times where you'll pick it up and you pick something up, you'll see a collectible, you'll be like, oh man, this is great, but I know this thing ain't going nowhere.
Well, I won't go, this is great. I'm just like, you know what I mean? It doesn't light me up. But it might light someone else up.
So the opposite is that it doesn't even, the opposite is just basically the absence of that spidey sense.
Yeah, there's spider senses. And I'm a big believer in every walk of life, pay attention to your spider senses. When they're tingling, there's a reason. When you get the neck cackles, you know, pay attention to that.
Is there anything on the horizon right now that you're seeing that could be, that in your head, in Craig's world, that you're saying this thing is going to be, like this genre of things is going to be collectible as we move forward?
I wish I could say yes, but I don't know. But I'll tell you what, I'll get the sense when I feel it, and I bet you I'll be right.
What are you super interested in right now? What's like lighting you on fire? I know World War II history. You're the expert in it. Fire, but this was random.
This was totally random.
When you picked up this chip and you brought it into me the first time and you showed me, I was like, I was so excited for you because this was so outside of your realm.
Right.
Is there things right now that's kind of outside of your realm that's just for Craig?
Let me think about that. And I will let you, I mean, I might come up with it in a minute, but not offhand. I mean, it really has to be dropped. It's like it gets dropped in front of you. You're like, wow, that's really cool, you know? So, yeah, I wish I had a good answer for you, but I don't. How about let me go back to the ore in the water. I'm going to get on interview mode for a second.
Okay.
You are a like world famous hair, I don't know, what should I call you? Hair creator, designer, cutter. I mean, you just do more than hair. And I know because I've sat in your chair and you've cut my hair. And I get like you do what, 6, 7 haircuts a week now?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, it's that's almost a whole different life ago.
Right.
You know
but it's such an honor to sit in your chair because you get more than a haircut. It's like you're getting a soul trim. I mean, you really just speak life into the person. They feel super special. And it's more than just a haircut. And I watched that when you cut my son's hair once or twice. He was like, I'm only going back to Kelly. And it wasn't because the haircut was perfect. I thought it sucked, but it was because you gave him what he wanted, not because you suck. But tell me about that ore in the water. I mean, how did you, and you are successful in the hair world, how did you decide to put your ore in the water for haircuts?
It wasn't inspiration. It was desperation. My dad bought dog clippers and thought that he would shave the dog. We would shave the dog because he would have us do it. And he didn't want to pay for the groomer. And so we turned the clippers on ourselves after trying to shave the dog one time.
Crazy. And now, and looking back, look at you.
Well, I think looking back, what it was hair for me was always a conduit, right? So one of my mentors said, there's never a piece of hair that's not connected to a head, that's not connected to a body, that's not connected to a soul. And so if you could touch a soul, now you're cooking with gas.
See?
Right?
See? I knew it had to do with it's like not just accidental that I feel soul touched when I sit in your chair.
Well, it was one of those things, man, where like for me, people would ask me, do you love to do hair? And I never did. I just loved people. And I didn't know that God was just preparing me. The clients that I had sitting in the chair for 45 minutes, I was asking them questions. And what do I do for a living now?
Ask questions.
Right?
Talk. Yeah. Speak with people.
I speak with people, and that's my job. And so I interview people, but some people would say that I'm newer to the podcasting space in 6 years that I've been doing podcasting. But for 30 years before that, I was interviewing people on the 30 to 45 minute mark, 25 times a day.
In your chair.
in the chair.
That's why you're so good, because you've had a lot of experience when the camera wasn't there.
And just over and over again. And what it did also was it helped me to stay curious about people, right? And my parents always taught me that and showed me that part of it was, to make, be kind, make friends, and be curious.
Listen,
right? If you're kind, you're contributing to them, which means that you're listening to the stories. And then I don't have to be the history hunter because I have a friend who's the history hunter. I don't have to go through the Marine Corps like you did because I can sit down with you and gain that experience. I don't have to go to Auschwitz to understand, not to say that I completely grasp it, but we got to sit. You got to have a guy from Auschwitz last night, Ben Midler, in the podcast room where you're sitting right now. He was sitting in your space. And if I simply will listen, be tuned into people, I don't have to go through that, but I can become educated about it. And so I almost I don't call it a hack of the system, but I would sit down with, people that went to Brown University. And I remember sitting with a woman who, went and then she got her master's at Stanford. And we sat for a night and I asked her a bunch of questions. And at the end, she was like, you know what I just told you? And I said, what did you tell me? I knew it because I was listening. She said, I just told you all the things that I learned with my MBA at Stanford. And I paid hundreds of thousands of dollars for that. And I'm actually paying for dinner tonight.
So you didn't get it. Yeah, you got it.
So I got paid.
You got paid to learn
to get an
experience.
MBA at. No, now, am I saying I got an MBA? No.
Yeah, and I get it. You're not. It's not a 1-for-1. It's not like, well, I've read about Auschwitz, I've been there, and so I went. No, and I know you don't mean that.
Of course.
And I just clarify that my experience through Ben isn't even on the same. It's not like a different sport. It's like a different sport. It's a different everything.
Absolutely.
There's no connect, but there's a tiny connection because I never will go to Auschwitz.
Yep.
I never will go to Brown. Mm-hmm. But listening to somebody about their experience, you pick up a couple of things.
Well, I think and that goes back to the collectible part, right? So when we're talking about the collectibles, the challenge is when you're looking for the collectible, when you're looking for the thing like, oh my gosh, this is going to be, most of the time it isn't going to be. When you're living and you're experiencing and you're really present with that person. Like last night I was present with Ben. Like I loved Ben's story. And Ben's story, for me, it was summed up like this. I wanted to stay alive.
Yeah, that was his main message.
And because I wanted to stay alive, I kept my mind positive and I kept hope. And so to every person out there, for me, with his experience, and again, this is cliff noting it, you've got to keep hope. And to keep hope, you got to keep a positive attitude. And if you're alive, you've got a chance.
And that sounds like a glib, you expect to have a cat hanging off a tree and one of those motivational posters. You just be positive. But that was literally his message. I survived, part miracle, but part because I decided every morning I was going to wake up and hope for the best and actually have hope. That was his word.
Yeah.
Yeah. Speaking, by the way, of collectibles, just like it's not about hair for you.
Yeah.
I've had a cough for the past 3 weeks. It really sucks. It's not about ownership of items. I really don't love that chip. There are people who do love collectibles. I mean, they literally
you love that person.
What?
I said
yes,
love,
I do.
exactly.
Thank you very much. But I really don't. I collect stuff. I'm holding stuff, but I'm excited about it because it's connected to something. Just like and I'm going to rephrase what you said, just like the hair's connected to the head's connected to the body, and the body's got a soul. This is connected to me, to a person, place, or an event in history that's significant and makes me think about bigger things like human nature. I asked Ben last night, I'm like, do you think human nature's changed? And I've thought a lot about that. My answer is no, not much. Yeah. And he looked at me and I said, well, the reason I say that is we don't, for example, today, we don't burn witches at the stake. And it's not because we're civilized and we're better than that. We don't burn witches at the stake, I think, because we don't believe in witches. If we believed in witches, we probably would do the same thing they used to do.
Yeah.
So that was just a long, and I learned that lesson by studying history. And I got to study history with items as a jumping off point to go, this makes me think. Just like that, and it's another one. Just a lot of people go, you must go to all the estate sales and walk into all the antique malls. And I really don't, because I'm not looking for, oh my gosh, this is going to be so exciting. I'm going to make so much money. it's just like, it's got to be random. Now, when I go to trade shows, it's not random. I'm there to buy stuff for less than I can sell it for, and that's different. It's great, however, when I walk into a show like that, and it doesn't always happen. I'll go a whole show, and I won't find one thing that lights me up historically. But when I do, I'm like, yeah, I got it. This is worth the trip. So...
Well, it goes back to the fact that I don't think that when you're looking for it, you don't find it. And this was a hard thing to hear from my parents, like, in a relationship, when you're looking for the relationship, but when you're not looking for the relationship, you end up in a coffee shop, you meet somebody randomly and you're able to go. But this was for me, it was always the message is just, really stay present with the people. Like, and
present tense.
And stay in that, because then you hear the stories and then you get the randomness, and the randomness becomes the collectible of the future, right? And so I think about a woman named Kelly Kulick. Does that?
No impact, no idea.
Kelly Kulick was the first woman to beat a man in bowling in the U.S. Open. And I saw it on TV and I thought that would be amazing. Right? I thought it was so cool because I'm a huge bowler. I love bowling. And I saw it and I was like, oh, I want to meet her. Well, just so happens that my friend was the food and beverage manager at Red Rock Casino. I was living in Vegas. The tournament was at Red Rock. I called Joey. Joey said, of course I can get her for you. I got her. I got to spend time with her. And you know what she did?
Did she teach you some bowling tricks?
No. The bowl that she beat the guy with, she gave to me an autograph.
The ball. That's
I have
crazy.
I have it down in, so for me, when you're talking about and this makes sense, I never thought about it this way. For me, your bit of history are those things for me. Like the Kelly Kulick ball, I have it. It doesn't mean that much to anybody else. Some people it would. Like I went to a random bowling alley and I said that I have Kelly Kulick's ball, and they all thought that I was like the president of the United States.
Right.
But those kind of things, I think when you can lock them to, to your own experiences, like, here in the podcast studio and the other kind of vignette that we have behind my desk, every one of those things is a story.
You should take everyone someday on a tour there. Just turn the camera on and just go. You got to be quick about it.
Yeah.
You can't, it's not a long story, but just go, hey, here's 10 things I'm going to show you. This is important to me because this happened here, because this is why I have this rando Michael Jackson picture or whatever it is. I would be interested, and I challenge you, put that up. I want to see it because it'll help me learn a little bit more about you.
Okay.
And brings me to what I'll consider maybe my final point. We can talk as long as you want, but
you got to get to the gym, man.
Yeah, I know. Thanks a lot. Yeah, so do you.
No, you're an action figure. So you told me before we started, you're like, I got to go to the gym, and then I got to.
I'm 55. Okay. If I don't go to the gym, I'll lose 4% of my muscle weight like tonight. So I started doing something, and it was based on a podcast that I saw. It was I think it was a mentalist or something. I don't remember, but
it was Oz or something.
It might have been Oz.
You sent it,
but it was like how to remember people's names. How many times you go, "Hey, I'm Eric, and nice to meet you," and 2 seconds later you don't remember their names. Well, this accomplishes 2 things, but this is what I learned, and I think I get them right. First of all, when you know they're going to say their name, stop thinking about everything else and just listen. So when they say, "My name is Eric," you're like, "Eric." Or let's think another name. My name is, give me a strange name. Tell me, make up a name up. Kelly.
Gertrude.
My name is Kelly.
Gertrude.
Okay. My name is, not going to, Gertrude. I'm like, wait, Gertrude. I listened, Gertrude. Is that like the normal spelling? I mean, how do you spell Gertrude? I don't think I've ever met a Gertrude. So you talk a little bit about it.
Yeah.
And then after you've listened, you've talked about it, you make an association with that name. Now, I have no idea. I don't have an association with the Gertrude, but I'm going to think about I'm going to make something up. I don't know. I think of, the Roadrunner, Bugs Bunny Roadrunner, meep, meep. For some reason, if that Roadrunner had a name, it would be Gertrude. So now I've pictured Gertrude. I guarantee you, ask me in 6 months, some rando day we're doing a discussion. What's that girl I talked to you about? I'll say Gertrude because I've now remembered it. This does 2 things. One, it makes the person you're talking to recognize that you care about them a little bit. Now, it's a trick. And then I don't technically have to care, but it does make them feel good. Yeah. And there's something to that. You've invested a little bit of positive energy in that person. But 2, it puts you in listening mode. So now when you're having a discussion, you're present. I got ADHD. It's tough for me sometimes. But when I am present with someone, I listen, I pick up on things. I can contribute and I can be contributed to. It's an actual conversation. I'm not, as is normally the case, just waiting for my chance to speak. when you go into that space, I've invested time in them. They feel good. And I'm going to learn something. I'm going to give something to them that they can have or use or whatever. And that creates a human interaction. And it's like looking at collectibles. If you're just running around, you might miss stuff. And I think taking time in life and being present, you don't miss as much.
I'm excited for the Nvidia chip as you go along. But I really, when I listen to Jensen Huang, it's
Jensen Huang.
Yeah. So when I listened to him, when I reached out to him, it had nothing to do with the fact of his fame. It didn't have to do with his company. And this is what I wrote to him: is I was so interested in how humble the dude was and how connected he was to the story, like you were talking about, as far as being present in those things and realizing that, you know, the things that he's done, most people are focused on the results of it. But for me, the process part of it, of him getting there and also just still being touchable and still being an incredible human being. I don't know him, but from what I got, if he's not a great human being, he's a really good actor.
I was thinking the same exact words.
He's a phenomenal actor.
No, I think you're absolutely right. You get the sense that he's an authentic, real person.
Yeah.
And could be here, and he wouldn't really care that we wouldn't know he's like a top 2 richest people in the world. You know, that he's got a company that's 4 or 5 trillion. He'd be a normal guy having a normal conversation. And I wouldn't want to talk to him about Nvidia.
No.
I said it right. I would want to talk to him about whatever came up.
Absolutely.
And it's, another guy that I think is like that, I don't know, Elon Musk. Maybe, maybe not.
Yeah.
But I've seen him on podcasts, and he just seems like a normal person who just sort of like comes in a t-shirt. That can be an act, by the way. You know it. People who are like artificially humble, and they're not. I think Jensen Huang is. Maybe Elon Musk is. And, again, controversial figure. People love him or hate him. I would love to spend time with him.
I think conversations like that it's like with you. Most people are like, oh my gosh, it's Craig Gottlieb. I need to talk about, World War II, and I need to do that stuff. And honestly, for me, my favorite times are like this, when I got you and you came in and dude, you were researching within the 3 minutes that I was getting the podcast ready to go to push play. Like, you were researching to make sure. And I love that about you. Like,
well, I wanted to say, I'll let you finish the compliment.
I love the fact of, and I do this to you on purpose. You know that, right? Mm-hmm. So I do it to you on purpose.
Do what?
Whether it be I interrupt you, I push you off thought, and then you're like, hey, let's get back to it. I do it on purpose. The reason why is because your, what you call ADHD or, unfocused part, is the part of the human, for me, that I just love hanging with, man, because you're straight magic. Like, you're magic just as Craig. That's what I was talking to you about this morning.
No, I really, that speaks life to me. I was going to say something and I forgot.
Oh man, because you were thinking about speaking while I was talking.
I was waiting for my chance to speak. No, I put a pin in what I was going to say to listen to you. And, well, it'll come back or it won't. But there it is. It's gone. Now I can only think about the fact that I don't know it
You know what
anymore.
my wife says about that?
What?
She says, if you forgot about it, it's a lie.
Interesting. You know what my wife says? She goes, was it life-changing? What's the other thing? She's going to kill me for not remembering, but it's like she says, was it significant? Was it life-changing? I was like, no. It was not.
Then it doesn't.
Maybe it could have been, and maybe it'll come back or it won't.
But I love being able to do that, because most people don't have exposure to you like this. Most of the time people, get a chance to be able to see you on the History Channel, or they've seen you on Pawn Stars. They've seen you all over the place. And, having a conversation with you, I think, is where the real magic is, man.
I remembered it.
For me.
I remembered it. The same thing happened to me the other night. I was at up in Pomona at this tiny little military antique show, and a buddy of mine from the Marine Corps, I didn't know him during the Marine Corps, but we've known each other for a while. He goes, hey, a buddy of mine's going to join us for dinner. His name is Mike. I'm like, great, Mike. He's a general in the Marine Corps. I mean, that's a big deal. There's 65 generals. And again, funny enough, he entered the Marines a couple of years after I did, but I've been out for so long. He stuck around. I said, how'd you stick around? He goes, no one found out. No one caught me. So he basically didn't get in trouble. There's more to it than that. He's a stellar human being. But I got to sit down and have like cheeseburgers and a beer with a Marine Corps general. And we didn't talk about Marine Corps general. We just enjoyed ourselves at dinner. So it was the same idea. I did ask a couple of questions. I'm like, so is there like some secret like cabal where all you guys get together and it's like a thing? And he goes, oops, yeah. He goes, yeah, it sort of is that way with there's only 65 of us. But the same idea. I just got to sit down with an incredible human being and just talk about other stuff. And it was so cool. Had I sat there and talked to him about the Marines, it would not have been the evening that it was.
Well, I think with my mom, I remember when John Paul came around one time, and I was all freaked out. I was like, "Mom, do you realize what John Paul has done?" And founder of Patron, sold it for $5.4 billion. Co-founder of Paul Mitchell, all this stuff. She turned to me and she was like,
Wait, can I interrupt? I'm going to interrupt. Is Paul Mitchell's not a person? It's John Paul and someone else?
No, Paul Mitchell's a person, but he died in 1989. So you wouldn't even know who he was if you saw him.
Okay.
So, and that's what most people think the guy with the beard is Paul Mitchell.
It's like Peter, Paul, and Mary is all different people, No. Okay. Sorry.
So
shows how much I know.
No, John Paul's the guy with the beard.
I do get my hair cut at least twice a month. So anyway, go ahead. Sorry.
But she said, does he know what you do? And it's just the encouragement, man. Like when I'm talking about you and like getting a chance to be able to, every person is that person to someone else. And every person, no matter who you are or what you've done, you're that to another person. So make sure that you make the things count. And because a lot of times, like if we got to sit down with our hero, like I was a huge fan of Pawn Stars. Seriously. Like me and my wife used to watch it every single, all the time, binge watch it. We'd watch it over again. It was amazing. And I remember you on the show. But I've always got to remember from what my mom taught me is just the same way that I was enamored by the thing, this hero of mine, you.
Well, I mean, let's not go that far.
That became human to me
okay.
And became my friend. Every one of the people that every person on this earth is that to someone else. But most of the time we're only saying, we're looking at someone else saying, oh my gosh, they did. And it's like, no, stop for a second and realize that you can make that impact on somebody else. Just by speaking life to them, just by saying a compliment to them, just by listening to them. When you said mankind, have they changed? I mean, they just want to be heard and they want to be seen. That's it. And when that happens, they feel loved. When they feel loved, they open up. Like I watched Ben last night. When he felt seen and heard, he felt loved, he opened up to you.
Yeah, he got off script. He's a person who has been, for very valuable and positive reasons, been telling a story. And so he's used to telling a story.
Absolutely.
I can read about the Holocaust. I wanted to know about Ben. I wanted to get introspective with him. And it's admittedly, I mean, he's 97, got his age right. And so it's no wonder that's his. It's not a rut in a negative way. Human beings, we do ruts. We do what? If we didn't do ruts, we would fall out of bed in the morning because we would forget how to walk.
Yeah.
But getting to talk to him about more than just the Holocaust story, that was really, really important. And one other thing, I'm full of like partial quotes, and I don't even know who said them, but I think it was Winston Churchill or somebody said, "You make a living by what you get, you make a life by what you give." And so many times when you meet somebody, it's transactional. You want to know, what can I get out of them?
Yeah.
And if you just switch for a minute and go, I'm going to do something, I want to give them something just once, even if you're going to get something out of them. Here's a challenge this week, and we'll check back 7 days. Every person you meet, whether it's a Starbucks server or a person at church, anytime you actually engage in a conversation, give them something, whether it's a compliment, a thing, whatever, an advice. So give them something. That's number one. And two, just be kind to them in one way. Whether it's something as simple as letting them go first or whatever, be kind and give. And let's see what happens in 7 days.
That's a drop the mic moment right there.
There you go.
Get ready to blow the dust off. This is History Hunter. History Hunter. We take history seriously, seriously fun, making history 3D, in color, connected. And now, here's your host, Craig Gottlieb.